Now, I've never been as worried as I am now about whether or not my kids and grandkids will be able to carry on.
He said, I love you, Mr. Trump. I need to see the fruit of your love.
5 of my customers have committed. That's how serious that this is.
And what it costs for us to farm is astronomical now.
I farm with paid-for equipment. All my tractors are 50 years old, and I can't hardly make this deal work. I think the tariffs are the ice cream on the cake of a perfect storm.
After a horrible year last year where most farmers in Arkansas Delta lost money, this year's going to be worse.
We made the decision to go out this year in the spring. So my son will not be the seventh generation on our farm.
We're going to lose 25 or 30% of the farmers in this country if they don't do something. It has to be done, and it's not just here. It's everywhere.
This is the consequences when we chose the wrong direction. Oh my God. Yes. It is what it is. Make America great. Yeah, low prices.
Hey everybody, it's Will. I wanted to let you know that I appeared on News Nation this morning to talk about the overwhelming increase in farmer bankruptcies this year in the United States of America. Already this year, since President Trump took office, we've had more farmer bankruptcies under Section 12 than we had in the entire year in 2024. This is being caused by a lot of the policies that President Trump passed, and there's no light at the end of the tunnel when it comes to these bankruptcies. Now, a lot of you may not know that Chapter 12 bankruptcy was actually originally created for farmers and fishermen in order for them to reorganize debt when they ran into difficult financial times. That's happening a lot lately due to very specific policies on the part of the president. First, you have the tariffs. The tariffs have been on again and off again for quite some time. I just read this morning and it blew my mind that there have been over 132 different iterations of the Trump tariff policy that's been put out there to the American public and the rest of the world since his inception when he first came into office. Think about that. 130 plus versions of the tariff plan for this country. You ask yourself the question, how can any other country or how can any commodity organization in the United States of America plan around that lack of planning? It's very, very difficult to do. It's caused other countries to throw tariffs onto the United States of America, which have cost us overseas markets, not only in row crops, but also in beef. And the problem is getting worse and worse. The second issue that we face in row cropping is that the break-even price right now for a commodity like corn is around $4 a bushel. And that price of corn has been dipping down below and a little bit above that per bushel price needed to break even for quite some time now. As a matter of fact, just a few weeks ago, the price of corn was somewhere around $3.80 a bushel, which was below break even. Right now, it's anywhere from $4.05 to $4.25, depending on how far you look out to December. But the bottom line is this. There aren't going to be massive profits on row crops this year due to the president's tariff policies, leading to a reduction in the amount of markets out there for commodities like corn, soybeans, etc. And this again is adding pressures to farmers, especially row crop farmers that depend on credit in order to do their farming every year. The other issue driving up cost is the increased energy cost in this country. Now, if you haven't done so, I'm going to encourage you to go over to the page of my good friend, Mr. Global, and look at some of his latest work on energy costs and energy prices. He's made a prediction which looks like it's going to become true that's really frightening. And that is in the very near future, energy prices, your utility bill that you pay at your home or on your farm could be greater than the cost of your mortgage. And that's really, really a frightening scenario for farmers across the country. As these costs increase and as markets disappear and our ability to sell our commodities around the world decrease, it's setting up a perfect storm for bankruptcies in this country. The final thing I want to tell you is that it's no different when a farmer files for Chapter 12 reorganization than it is if a small business does it or an individual does it. The bottom line is a farmer comes out of that bankruptcy with destroyed or credit that's been diminished quite a bit. And in the farming industry, just like with many small businesses and larger businesses, where you need credit to operate, to buy the inputs that you need to produce the commodities that you're later going to sell, the difference between good credit and bad credit can mean several points in interest rates and the increased amount of money that you've got to put down at the beginning or the amount you have to collateralize in order to get a loan. This could mean you have to put more and more acreage up or more and more equipment up just to get the operating capital that you need to put crops in the ground or to put cattle in the field. So this is a really dark cloud that's building over agriculture right now as a direct result of of President Trump's agricultural policies. The other thing I want to tell you, and we can't forget this because I know that a lot of you who follow me and who are going to see this video are mental health advocates as well. Anytime we see a significant increase in farmer bankruptcies like we're seeing right now, we also see a significant increase in farmer unalivings. As the grandson of someone who went down that path, I can tell you that it impacts families for years and years to come. Anyway, that's the breakdown. That's what I shared on News Nation today. I hope you'll go check out the clip. And if you want to change policy in America, get better rural policy, better policy for agriculture, education, and healthcare, join us here on the Back 40 to fight the good fight. Go to our website, the Back 40 Official, all spelled out.com. Join to get our newsletter and join to get updated information. We're going to events all over the country. We've been to Missouri. We've been to Texas. We've been to Illinois. We've been to Kansas. We've been to Oklahoma. We've been to Arkansas, and we've been to Iowa. And we've got requests from all over the country. We're going to be up near St. Louis just later this week on Saturday. We're going to be in Perry, Oklahoma, and speaking to students at Oklahoma State University in August. It's really a great place to be if you want to impact change in rural America. And I'm asking you today to take that leap of faith and step out there and join. Have a great day, everybody.
So I just saw a video of a farmer in Florida who states that Donald Trump is the best president in his lifetime.
I voted for Donald Trump.
Okay. What were you excited about when you cast that vote?
I'm just going to pull the pin on this grenade and let it go. I think there are large swaths of our society and our government that are dysfunctional for a whole host of reasons. And maybe it's time to burn the house down. Figuratively.
Wow.
Maybe we're doing too much. And if we could back off with our government and let the common citizen make more of their own decisions, then I can do whatever I want to do and I can sink or swim at it. And my neighbor can do the same thing.
All right. Let's talk about the election. Who'd you vote for?
And he supports Ron DeSantis 100%, but he's begging these migrant workers, these undocumented workers, to not leave because he's going bankrupt. All these farmers are going bankrupt. All these contractors are going bankrupt because everybody's left. Because this law that they just passed makes it illegal. Like if I'm working with someone who's undocumented and I'm giving them a ride home and get pulled over, I can get arrested. Not just can they get sent back, they can arrest me. And then the farmers are trying to say, oh, it's been misread and it's been lied to in the press and don't believe it. They're panicking big time. They have fucked around and they are in the find out stage. And I just think it is it's beautiful. It's delicious. It's just chef's kiss. Just seeing how this farmer panic and seeing him trying to talk to, he'd say something and then the interpreter would repeat it. And the things this guy was saying are not the kind of things that are going to keep undocumented workers here. There's plenty of work for them wherever they want to go. There are a lot of jobs that Americans don't want to do that undocumented workers can get. And there are a lot of places where they're appreciated instead of persecuted. So I just think it's hilarious that they're finding out now that there's going to be some serious consequences to this. And wait till you find out what tomatoes are going to cost in 6 months. RT Gargiulo has a huge tomato. Most of the tomatoes in the United States are grown in Southwest Florida. And they have a huge tomato operation there. And they don't have any workers. And it's going to be bad. There's literally strawberries and things like that rotting on the vine or on the plant. They can't get anyone to come and work. They got what's coming to them, and I just think it's beautiful. I hope it bankrupts them. I hope it bankrupts every goddamn one of them. Every single right-wing rich guy that supported all this hateful stuff, supported all this anti-trans stuff in this fight with Disney. I'm just loving this. And I'm loving, it's going to be great because in about 6 months, this is really going to hit. And that's just when Ron DeSantis is going to be really trying to hit the campaign trail. Enjoy your finding out, Ron. You're going to find out a lot.
Hello, good people. Welcome back to this episode. I hope while you're watching, you're having a good time. There's one thing that white Americans are regretting having done, and that is electing Donald Trump, because they're trying to look at their perspective economically, and it's very unfortunate that much of the thing they thought it would work on their side is not working at all. At the moment, they're in this spray of blaming everybody and everything that comes to their thoughts. Let's say, for example, I came across a video, Texas farmer complaining about how things are becoming too expensive for them. Farm tools and inputs have become very expensive for them to manage and to get. For example, fertilizer. Many are not able to afford fertilizer. For example, you can see the data that was released the other day showed that 70% of American white farmers say that the current fertilizer prices are unbearable. For them, they cannot afford it. And another is the labor shortage. Some thoughts that by Trump deporting farmers, immigrant workers, they will have black people go work for them. They are in a shock right now. The things they thought was going to happen, it was all in vain. Let me know what you think on the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe.
I just wanted to come on here and say I'm sorry. I voted for him and I thought he was going to make things better for folks like us.
There's a whole lot of white people who are now upset that they voted for Trump. So I just want to point out this lesson and thing we do in the black community where we say all skin folk and kin folk. Y'all voted for that man because he's white and you didn't want to see a black woman become the president. And now you see all skin folk and kin folk.
So I want to talk about this article really quick because it's all starting to make so much sense right now. This author and journalist was having lunch with friends. There was a white guy and he's married to a black lady and they were talking politics. And he says that farmers weren't worried about Trump deporting migrants because, wait for it, they thought because unemployment was so high for black people that these black people would run back to the fields and do the jobs that the migrants were doing when they got deported. So she asked, where'd you get that information from? White farmer TikTok or MAGA Facebook memes? Where'd you get this information from? And her and the wife basically started giving him information, letting him know unemployment is only 6.8% for African Americans, and 93% of black people are currently working. Got so caught up in what they were hearing at Fox News and other places thinking black jobs, immigrants are taking black jobs, that they just assumed they'd get rid of the immigrants and black people would take the immigrants' jobs? Sir, our ancestors did not march, die, and fight for civil rights so we could go back to the fields? What? But shout out to the Latino immigrant population that have mastered that labor with skill and stamina. This country doesn't even appreciate it enough. Oh, and by the way, when they do try to hire Americans, black or white, to do those jobs, most of them don't even last half a day. They just ghost them without even picking up their paychecks. True story. So y'all, tell me, do you really believe that they thought black people were planning to replace immigrants in that labor force if they got deported? Because I need to know who was smoking that logic.
They want us to be slaves. This is real. They wish slavery could come back again. They sit up here and talk about, oh, Iran, they don't care about their citizens. They don't care about their people. You don't give a damn about us either. You're cutting our health care, all of our benefits. We can't vote anymore. You don't give a damn about the population either. You let them put all this junk and poison and stuff in the food. So you're better than Iran? I don't think so. They want slavery back. They want us to work to the bone so they can extract maximum profit while giving us minimal benefits, minimal return, minimal salaries, wages, benefits, all of that. They don't want us having shit. Happy Mother's Day. Kiss my sunshine.
Hello, Americans who like to eat. I'm Linda, and I want to talk about empty grocery shelves. They are coming, and sooner than we think. There's a 3,000 per day immigrant detention quota. 40% of farm workers in the United States are undocumented. You do the math. Farms are an excellent place to find undocumented immigrants to detain and deport, depleting the workforce. And now, those who haven't been rounded up are afraid to show up. Let's look at just one state, Texas. According to farmers, this issue has been affecting their farms for a couple of weeks, but overnight, it bottomed out. On several Texas farms, nearly 100% of farm workers aren't showing up. So what does that mean for you? Remember Trump's comment about having $2 instead of 30? Cows are milked 3 times a day. No workers, no milk, and some very unhappy cows. What if your grocery store, instead of getting 30 gallons of milk, gets 2? 28 families will not be able to buy milk. Now extrapolate that among produce. Produce that instead of being harvested is rotting on the vine. Texas is one of the top 10 producers of 40 major commodities. It is the 4th largest agriculture producer in the nation and 2nd in animal products. And it's not just cows not being milked and produce rotting on the vine. 1 in 7 Texans works in an agriculture-related job. If farms stop working, those jobs are affected. Workers not earning money aren't paying taxes. And yes, undocumented workers pay taxes. Without money coming in, they will cut back on things like restaurants and small businesses, movie theaters, wherever they spend their discretionary income. Last week, Trump ordered a halt to immigration enforcement at farms. But it may already be too late to solve the current problem. The lack of workers now mean farms won't hit full production this year. And if they lose planting now, there is nothing to harvest later. Yet, despite Trump's assurances, a few days after his statement, the administration resumed the raids. Vance says the administration plans to continue clearing the country of undocumented immigrants. Quote, we're enforcing everywhere. In other words, you ought to voluntarily go back and come through the proper channels, unquote. That can literally take years. And frankly, it doesn't protect you from being deported. In the meantime, the question remains, how long are you willing to go without food? Bye, Americans. Have a nice day.
Long, we have been telling MAGAs that if you deport everyone here legally, we're not going to have people to work on the farms and it's going to destroy the economy. And they provide the ridiculous response of Democrats are for slave labor. No, we don't want to crash the economy. And here we are seeing farmers and Republicans pointing out that if we deport everybody working on the farms, it will crash the economy. Maybe it's time for common sense immigration reform where we provide a path to citizenship for the hardworking people who've been here for decades, living clean lives, raising their families, and paying taxes.
So President Sunny D promised to fix the job market by deporting 11 million undocumented workers. Like it was a new binge series, ICE, Special Victims of Common Sense. Megatron told black voters, Mexicans are taking your jobs. Like we were all going to add day laborer to our resumes by Monday morning. But guess what? 2025 just hit a record. More farm bankruptcies in the first quarter than all of 2024 combined. Farmers are begging for help. And Commander Coppertone, he sent ICE back out, even stricter because clearly the problem was too many workers keeping the economy alive. Turns out crops don't pick themselves, restaurants don't staff themselves, and black folks, they aren't lining up to break their backs for $10 an hour with no benefits just because Trump ran out of scapegoats. They thought they could swap immigrants for job-coreless inner-city youth, the same ones they underfund, over-police, and call thugs on TV. This was never about jobs. It was about villains, about vibes. Really, it was all about votes. But now, capitalism's on line one, and it wants its workers back.
Family owned, over 4,000 acres of tomato farm across Florida and California. Yep. Sadly, his crops aren't looking too good. All those tomatoes rotting, Nobody's there to pick the crops. And with Trump tariffs, well, they ain't got nothing left to do, y'all, but to mow that shit down. He got to mow all that shit down. Yep. Ain't got nobody there to pick them goddamn crops. Do I feel bad? No. Because that's what he voted for. He voted for Trump. A Trumper. All that shit wasted. All those goddamn tomatoes gone to garbage. They wasted. All because of that vote for Trump.
Well, if you think about it, I mean, we have, 50, 70, 80,000 illegals that are on final orders, of removal already in Florida at a minimum, right? And so, we would love to be able to get that cadence going very quickly to where we burn through that expeditiously. Then some of the others that are still going through some of the process, we want to be part of helping supplement that process with our personnel to be able to move that back quickly. But I mean, if you look at the numbers, I mean, obviously the deportations that have happened nationwide so far, and ICE has been understaffed, is not scratching the surface of what would need to be done to get to where you have the largest mass deportation in history and where you're even just addressing the Biden people, right? So you got to increase that tempo. You have a limited amount of time to do it. And I think we've got to assume, we've got these 4 years under the Trump administration to really get the job done. So my hope is that we have a very strong cadence coming out of here. If the cadence is strong and it justifies us going up Northeast Florida and establishing a footprint at Camp Blanding, we will do that. But for us, the reason why we're in this is because we want this tied to helping DHS remove these folks. That, to us, is the critical element that we want to see done. And then I think, quite frankly, the voters want to see done.
Welcome, guys, back. I think you heard what white Americans are saying, and black folks are also saying, you choose Donald Trump, we are not going to interfere. What you guys are suppressing, that is your thing to worry about. But indeed, we know the economy ain't performing well for almost everybody, and that's something that I think many people are really worried about. They don't know how the American's economy will be sorted, because much of the things that we see right now are of demand. Very expensive people who depended on agriculture are right now facing a lot of low production based on the fact that they cannot afford some farm input. This complaint came to realize that some Texas farmers and Florida farmers are coming to complain about telling everybody who cares to listen, but of course black are having it easy. That is not the case. Even black farmers are not having it easy, but because they have been taught to be resilient in hard times, that they think that helping them to manage this soft economy. Please consider subscribing. Don't forget to leave a comment. Bye.